Well, hello there, friends. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello there. There's a button for this. There it is. Hey, happy Friday. Welcome to the beginning of the weekend. February 21st, 2025, and we're back. We're drawing. We didn't go anywhere for a long time, but nevertheless, we're back. We're learning to draw. We're not dropping any masterpieces. We're not teaching anybody. We're just here to get a little better. Built-in mechanism to get me personally practicing. And wear a hoodie like 2 or 3 days in a row. Let's do this. Oof. Get right into it today. We'll see how long we have in ourselves. Build up a little bit of art stamina, but also not trying to abuse ourselves of it so much so. Now we didn't have to load on the sketchbook cover page, but it's just a little small talking point. Just had to open the soda. Figure I'd save you that. Talking point is we're gonna start recording. We're trying to keep better track of the things we draw over time, rather than a scattering of sketches and practice. I want to see it all, not just the final products that I am saving. So we always start with the warm-ups. You can see we've got the first page of sketchbook kind of dedicated to warm-ups, exercises. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on these, although I'll tell you, wherever that dot's at, I want it gone. I would have gotten it there by a mouse click accidentally. It's going to bother me until I clean it up. Here we go. Back to the regular layer. Let's zoom on out. 150's kind of been our go-to here for the zoom, but let's do it at 100. How's that look? Back to 150. All right, the lazy brush. Let's get rid of that one. Even the real G pen. Oh, we have opacity on. Okay, feeling a little better so far. I want to make better lines. I want the best lines. Be important because our final goals are mostly black and white. I want to be capable of the occasional color page or color cover. But black and white line art, kind of where I want to be. So we've kind of held on to this daily exercise. As I move across the screen, let me try tilting the screen just a bit. Maybe going a little faster. Finding that comfortable zone, using the whole arm. All the tools we're slowly implementing into our process. I'm going to try stopping. Here, let's try stopping on the green line. Starting and stopping. We'll add a little bit more control to the exercise. there is a bit of a curve to almost every line I'm putting down, so we're going to try to fix that as well. There we go. Feels pretty good. More control in each of these strokes than we've seen in the past few days. Although when you do a line that's kind of like that, interesting. I switched from real G Pen to G Pen. See if I can't work out the differences in the lines. And what I'm seeing, oopsie. Okay, that's not a good way to zoom. But let's do quick line comparison. G Pen, real G Pen with pressure, right? Let's do that with pressure. I'm trying to figure out what brushes I like. And then looking around at downloaded brushes and what everybody else is using, there's always this, I would call it lack of anti-aliasing to some of the more popular pens. And I wonder if that's mostly at full zoom. Does that feel like a more realistic pen? If I had to find a good brush, and well, I think I should eventually kind of hone in on what I want for brushes. I kind of want something that works like a fine liner, or at least have that in my toolkit. I've grown fond of them in real life. So I'd just be like holding the pen down, get that dot at the beginning. There's my fine liner. But with the lack of anti-aliasing on this, and maybe that's something we could easily make adjustments to. I should learn brush making or brush property adjustment. Maybe I could solve some of these problems myself. Woo, threaded the needle on that one. Let's raise this up a bit. There we go. Alright, let's do our circles. Oof. You can see the wobbliness is in a lot of my lines, and the solution is supposed to be going a little faster. Coasting that line. That takes out the wobbliness, but then I just get a super deformed shape. More confident line. There's an in between. I think some of it's just going to come down to practice. I don't even know if this is maybe it's a digital art transition problem too. Something that will work out faster and over time. going, we're going. Add a little color to it, like that's gonna help it. Oof. Now, one question I have at the moment comes to mind. Maybe there's something about the way I'm holding my hand drags kind of across the screen with the glove. It kind of glides on a pinky knuckle. Yes, how much is that interfering with anything I'm doing? That suddenly felt better. I was still gliding, like freehand without something touching the screen for me would look like that. This. I feel like I'm lacking stabilization. Then I put the pinky down. Using the shoulder a lot more. Not that I was using the wrist. I think maybe the elbow literally like 30 seconds ago. Maybe this is just warming up. I think I felt the wrist come into play right there. I wonder what a wrist brace would do. Would it lock the wrist down so I wouldn't use it? Would that help? Hey Astrid, hello there. Love the little dino emote. Hope you're having a good Friday. You're kicking off your day, right? We may have to go back to coffee ourselves, but we weren't feeling it last time I went to refill it. We're usually about 1 cup of coffee before stream, then 1 to 2 on stream. But today we didn't make it to the 2nd cup. Okay, I'm feeling something here. I'm either unlocking a bit of the brain, but so a lot of these mistakes seem to be that as I'm using the arm and the elbow, I'm incorporating the wrist. I'm trying to do all 3, which probably fine, which might be ideal, but also when I don't do that, suddenly my circles feel better. See, that felt like the wrist right there. Try to lock my wrist in and use none of it. See, that suddenly feels better. And it might just be that as I'm doing the circle, I'm bringing my wrist in to make what it thinks is corrections to the line. I'm gonna do that box splitting exercise again with this in mind. Let's give ourselves a color change. So yeah, thinking maybe a wrist brace. See if I can't knock down my wrist for a bit. See how that feels. Although I wonder if I can do one that wouldn't like scratch up the screen. My wrist is pretty close, if not dragging sometimes. Which might also be something to fix. But hey, that's so far been my MO. Throw money at all the problems, but not just do the work. Strategies, techniques, equipment, software. If there's an advantage as a solo artist to be had, I think I've taken it, but also a lot of unnecessary things. I guess it's not entirely true. I could have like a 27-inch screen instead of a 19-inch screen. But theoretically, we're also not going to be self-taught forever. One day, this stream will have to die, because I'm going to go take some college courses. Pen wobbled, it wibbled and wobbled. Not like this. Yeah, it's fair. I still got a lot of all of my college benefits from my time in the military are still available to me, so they should be used. I do have to figure out when to apply for the fall semester. Let's try the brush. Moving the pen with my wrist here and gliding it out as I draw is helping me lower the pressure, but I think I should find a way to do that with more control, because we're getting curves on it, because as I move it, it's curving naturally in a direction. Ooh, blends in. All right, let's does it blend in on another layer? It blends in less, more color mixing. Anyway, none of those layers matter. That's the warm-up layers. Let's get ourselves back to yesterday's pages. And this is kind of the reason we keep these. We've got this sketchbook set up now. So we can go back later and see the improvement. We can fill these pages up. Make me feel better about having done progress. Alright. I just did that earlier, late last night. This is the one bit of drawing we did after stream. So we're not great at doing things off stream, which is, I guess, why we have the stream in the first place. It's why we're here. Let's just, let's get some freehand circles down. Just gonna do a couple of lines. Say freehand with guidelines, with things to tell us how we're doing. Let's fit some circles in here that aren't tracing. As far as hitting those lines, I'm feeling pretty okay. Warmed up might be the word. Alright. Start with our sketches. Not sketches. Let's start with our poses. Go back to line of action. We're gonna do 60-second poses for a bit. Okay. Head actually tilted backwards here. Line. There's a torso that's kind of got a tilt. Shoulder, we're looking at a side view. See if we can get some good proportions. Okay, next. That's a nose is actually like there. The eyes are on top. Probably a better circle. Shoulders are up here. Line of action kind of out like that. The actual spine though is more like out here. This is the top of the torso. So we would get maybe something like this. The arms and the shoulders are just coming straight down at the camera. We do have a knee in the middle for shortened, and we're out of time. 1 minute goes by a lot faster than I realized doing this. Actually, the wrist more back here. And the shape of the head, probably we need to do better circles here. Okay, let's find the space. All right, line of action. Hips are a little too long for what we've put in, the proportions of the head. Let's keep the general motion and the general size for now. Art. is just on his knees with his arms crossed. But most of what we see is the other arm coming down. Chin a bit up. Add some color to this one, like it'll help. We definitely can exaggerate a good line of action on this one. He's arching his back really heavily. Shoulders are a little slanted. He's got his hands on the side of his head, back of his neck. Now the legs. I tell you, I can see that pose at least come out of what I've drawn. Alright, so simply exaggerate the essence of the pose. I mean, the legs can kind of come straight down, but I feel like there's more flare. I mean, almost here. So he's just standing up straight, chest pumped out, like puffed out, but okay. Didn't get that. I think the legs is where that fell apart. Okay, line of action up here. This is the back. A lot of foreshortening on the arm. It's holding the sword. A lot of foreshortening on both arms. I really hate the grip he's got here. Somebody who's trained with a sword. But I think we got the essence of his pose. I think we exaggerate this one a bit that way. Maybe not that much. Leg just kind of comes up and out. Hard to, it's like in front of his body. This is again the back, which we'll do with the quick highlight of those muscles there, and the other leg comes down. There's a stool he's sitting on, and this leg is just coming up in front of the stool and back, but we wouldn't see most of that. Okay. Maybe it's not leaving a lot of room for the neck. Isn't helping. We don't see the other arm. It is tucked behind the body. Oh, and we ran out of time. You think I would just start going a little faster to get these done. To get more of it captured. Instead, we're hitting some transforms. No, I'm not getting the essence in any of this. Alright, we're gonna pick a pose. We're gonna stick on a little longer. Give ourselves just a bit more time. So, essence of a pose. So, get the circle. I think maybe get the head correct first, right? Not even the correct angle. Wait a minute. No. So, literally that much of a change. Okay. We get a line of action that kind of curves, but does not end on the outside of the face like that. Maybe comes out to here. This gives the hip so this is the line that's the line I understand. Comes down to the knee and flares back out. And maybe that's the problem. We're doing detail here. I need to do motion. I'm gonna go back. We're gonna watch more gesture videos, and we might have lost the plot along the way. Okay. Just wanted to thicken that line, but. Okay, so chest is flared out a bit. We get the arms that just kind of run back and out. Are we capturing motion there? Is that a gesture pose? Let's go another one. Make sure we stop the timer. So on this one, more like this. And the arm coming up and around from there. Genuine. Right now we're working on our gesture and our, well, just general gesture. We're having a hard time capturing motion and getting away from stick figures, I think. We did start putting things in pages in a sketchbook-like format, so we've got a lot from yesterday. So it might look like we've done a bit more than we have, but I'm trying to see if I can't do it in less lines too. That is a nice thing to say, something challenging, because it's feeling challenging. But we were doing 1 minute poses, and I wasn't getting enough out of each figure, I think. But we're gonna go back to like 1 minute. We're gonna put a timer on it again after this next one. And there's a purpose for quick poses, right? Don't want to spend too much time on any one thing. Where does this goes? Kind of this way. So what I'd like to do is capture. I mean, this one. There's a lot of dynamicness in this pose. Oh, see, like a monstrous line here. We should stop deleting. There's a twist in the torso. And we get like, I say we get that, but it's more here and like that. And this arm is like behind. This is just back here. See, the motion I'm seeing. No. We're going to. I'm practicing pose as well right now, and it's so hard. Yeah. No, I feel you. I'm literally feeling the frustration. Whew. Just find some space over here. Give us a color change for fun. So this same pose. Do an egg-shaped head. Alright, just kind of There we go. We get this, it's kind of this line. Gesture swings out. We're going to exaggerate it a bunch. Maybe less exaggeration. Now this is a torso and a shoulder. Shoulders are kind of going here. The rib cage, I can see it. Alright, so we've got, it's not even there, is it? It's more back here because the line of the torso and the rib cage kind of does one of these for me. But we can see that that line doesn't curve as heavily. It's twisted under. Just take a little bit of time. Pelvic. It's supposed to be frustrating learning through trial and error. Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, it's the thing is intellectually I understand that. It's working through the emotion and the frustration and beating it back with the, you know, intellectual understanding that this is supposed to be hard and frustrating, and that's how we grow and learn. Let's move you out of the way. Okay, so there's a huge twist, and I think what I'm maybe not showing either is the shortness of this side of the torso. We get a shoulder that back here and one that's over here. And that's showing us more front. There's more side to the pelvis. Almost entirely sideways. Which maybe we bring down a bit. How much of a gap are we talking? So we get this till we do the bean. Yeah, I don't know why we added that much on that side. We get the stretch on this side, the crunch on this side. Yep, that is the way it would crunch. We get the leg that follows down straight, which should be about there in height. A little bit of a cloth there, so we've got to use our imagination a bit. This leg comes back a little sharper angle. To a foot, it's kind of doing that. Alright, let's erase some of that guideline that's going to throw me off. Take our hand and on the rear. There's a bit more of a rear there, but we won't focus on that right now. We got the turn of the head, which I think we can make visible. A little better. We've got the shoulder and the neck kind of coming up like that and then down like that. Looking better. There's an elbow before the sternum, and it's due to a lot of foreshortening, but the shoulder does come out more. We get the wrist way out here, and a hand that's holding on to the blanket. Some fingers in there. We're not gonna we're not going to deal with. There's a thumb here. You can always pull out the thumb. There we go. It feels better. We add, so the line, there's a line of action here. Here, does that suddenly become a better? See that? I would love to throw that down. We just had to spend a minute to get there. Trial and error. Okay. Whew. Beating ourselves up. Let's hit play. Let's go back to minute poses. We noticed some things last time we're going to try to keep in mind, but after this pose, I'm going to go write them down. Okay. That was a minute. So, let's go back real quick. So some things we saw that I want to keep in mind. And I'm going to limit the number of things we write down. But as we were drawing this, the center line of the torso and its placement relative to the sternum and the actual give me a second. Women's Fitness logo. Hey, I'll take what I can get. if it's demonstrating essence of the pose, if I can see the pose, I'm in it. But I've been drawing a lot of torsos like this. Let me get red. Kind of drawing them like this, where the center line is all kind of equidistant from the sides. But over here, we did it better. We put the center line and gave the torso kind of the depth that was actually being portrayed. I'm going to pause the timer. So we're going to go with, like, you know, center line placement. Keep it in mind. Like, observe. Don't just draw it in the center. We've done it a few times, but in some of these, they're actually centered. Yeah, the Link one looks way better. Oh, absolutely. Pink one. Yeah, pink one. And it might just be, I mean, it's time, experience, practice, but, you know, we took our time a little bit. I don't want to take 30 minutes for some poses, which we have done. Like, I think some of these took us way too long, and these are lines I want to be able to put down easier, which I think is the theme for my goals, is draw better, but faster. But for now, we need to slow down and think about these things. So I think centerline placement here is good. We got to think about it. And then maybe one more comment is going to be line of action. Because in here, we've heard line of action talked about two ways. I feel like I'm in the trying to decide which one we're following for our gesture drawings, if you will. So one way we've learned, and we learned it like this first, that it goes, you know, follows the whole line of the body. Wherever you can find that most prominent line of action, it starts usually from the longest point of the body, right? Wherever we can find it. Top of the head, bottom of the foot. We had a good one right here. And this was a good one to draw. But a lot of my line of actions, because another artist talked about the line of action really following the top of the spine to the bottom. I didn't say the bottom of the spine, but you know, this point on the spine to this point on the tailbone, and just following like that. You know, kind of like this. This line of action is more in the original method, kind of here. I think I'd still probably come back and make sure this hip was emphasized, but I think we get something better out of the second way. I don't know why we put the sketchbook on here, so we're not deleting things. So yeah, we're gonna try to keep these two things in mind, and we're do some more minute-long poses. With the realistic poses, it's going to take time. You can't rush the process. From my perspective on my drawings, it takes me a long time. And that's fair. And that's, you know, likely both in drawing them and learning to draw them, right? The best stuff is going to take time. Getting the detail is going to take time. But these lines to me feel simple and easy, and like I should be able to put them down better. The other thing I'm noticing is line art only takes you so far. We're not going to give ourselves too many lessons. I got to be able to focus, but like trying to find this line here in two lines, and I'm trying to follow these curves. All right, we didn't quite even get the curves right, but I'm seeing, you know, a couple places we could work with, you know, in these lines. Leave our marks. So anyway, beat ourselves up a little less, and let's go put some more lines down. There are really two things we're generally working on. Clearly poses, also forms in 3D, like shapes, cubes. We're trying to do both right now. A little mixture of the two. About there. This one is a very foreshortened pose. I'd say it's... This one's a tough one. Let's see if I can sketch it quickly, easier. Like, definitely a camera angle to deal with, and probably not much of a gap. That gap. Let's try, like the torso kind of overlaps, the pelvis is in front of the camera. We get this curve, bottom of the feet, two ovals, bottom of the feet, kind of two ovals. So I don't mind where we were going with that, so I'm going to go back and do another minute of trying to clean this up. Torso's kind of in the knee. Torso and the knee are kind of together. Their shoulders are way up here. And we get this like let's say pose kind of here. Doing hand things. But the angle of that probably needs to be brought down a bit. But I think, yeah, no, we were pretty good going with the camera angle in that direction, and then we flared up. All right, next. These ones you think would be even easier because he's standing almost straight. We didn't give ourselves enough room. We're really biting into our time. He's almost doing the Captain Morgan off to the side, but the center line of the head is way over. And the neck is actually super stretched up. We got a foot. So, line of action, top to bottom, arm, shoulder. Alright, we're just doodling over a line. Next. We don't need to. I'm gonna find space. We're gonna fill up everything. This is just one of the poses of all time. I've said it a few times. There's poses I've run into that are that look like they're posed just to make it challenging for the artist. Art poses. Legs are very short. And then these legs, actually, I mean, they're also really far back. We've got too much space here. All right, we're gonna move on from that one. Let's simplify this one. Holding on to a rope here. This runs down. Definitely have foreshortened. Thigh. Bring this one down. Over. There. Okay, well enough. If not, just a little bit of a stick figure. It's like somebody trying to do the mountain climbers, but at a bit of an angle. Actually very clearly can see the other elbow back here. Okay. All right, so seeing a view of the torso from the side. So if we just do that with the spine, we get a lot more torso on the front than we get on the back. We get a shoulder. It comes down past the spine and sits on the floor. I'm gonna pause on this one because we're almost out of time already. We get the hips that are mostly they have a tilt to them as well. Can I get the angle of this? Which brings hamstrings, the thighs. More horizontal. And back the camera. A little higher than that. At that angle. Yeah, there's some lines happening there. No idea what we're seeing. There's another foot that's kind of tucked in under here, which is why it's probably super important that we get our lines correct. One of the reasons. But it's just a very prominent part of the foot. Oh. Alright, we're gonna go back to the drawing board for... Not drawing board, we're not going back to the drawing board. We're just gonna stretch it out. Alright, let's go back. It feels like an okay page one. I would love to see a very clear progress, and I think we do if we focus on the right ones. The ones where we maybe we'll take some notes, write down some ideas. We're gonna need to put those ideas into action. I do think one of the things we might be doing is rushing and building some of the rushing, or we're practicing the rushing a bit. I'd rather, I think, slow it down. So maybe we just go to like a 2-minute pose and try to accomplish less in those 2 minutes while, you know, being a better observer of our eyes. I think that's fair. I appreciate the kind words, Genuine. We're gonna call this one. I think we're gonna call this day a wash. Not a wash, but we're gonna call the stream. We're gonna go in and we're gonna turn on some classes I can't watch on stream. Can't/shouldn't. We'll try to get some more focused practice in, but you know, have some of the ideas and concepts re-drilled. That being said, we're coming back Monday through Friday next week. We're gonna hammer at this again. We'll see what we get done. I think one of my benchmarks here, one of my goals for the weekend is to, I wouldn't say fill up like another sketchbook page. Like we have another page, right? I want to come back on Monday and be like, hey, this is what we did over the weekend. That's my goal. We're gonna lay a goal out. So let's write it down. Let's make it happen. Let's go ahead and give that a good. Write it in blue. Let's make it a good warm blue. Weekend goal. Fill next page. We've got a couple of assignments we're working through. So there's a perspective assignment. There's a draw box. Homework. Now that won't be here. We won't do that digitally. We need to get to the 250 boxes. If we can finish that homework, I'll feel good. And then I want to slow down and do at least a couple figure sessions. Now, I'm not going to say we're going to do the 2 minutes, because we're going to take a look again at a lot of the coursework I've gone over in the last month or so, and see if we can't rein in what we're doing. But we won't fill out the goal. If we put too much here, I think this is good. This is a good list. We're going to get that done. Short stream today. But let's put that extra time to good use. So thank you all for hanging out. We'll hit this button. Have a fantastic weekend. Later, Astrid. Later, Genuine. And anybody else who happens to be hanging out in the sphere.